fellow diamond painting addicts, and welcome back to Diamond Painting Anonymous. I'm Daphne, and I'm here today for this week's WIP and Chat. If you're new here, welcome. If you're not new here, welcome back. WIP, W-I-P, stands for Work in Progress, and this is mine. You are welcome and encouraged to go grab whatever you are working on and work alongside while I chat. Or alternatively, you can treat this as a podcast and just listen while I chat. Today, I'm going to be working on my Furry Familiar. This is a kit that I'm doing both for the Familiars in February event and also for DP for Black History Month 2024. So I'm excited. I'm actually about halfway done with this kit, so I'm hopeful that I'll finish it this month. Okay, I'm going to zoom into where I'm going to be working, move things around a bit, and I will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, let me get my timer started here and let me pick out a drill to start with. And then let me start with my life update. So what's going on in my regular life? Not a ton, actually. Another kind of boring week, just living life, doing the things, which is good, right? It's all good that we're just living the life and doing the things. Boring is usually good. Isn't that an Irish curse / blessing? May you live in interesting times, because interesting doesn't always necessarily mean good. It has once again been unseasonably warm here this week. It's been mostly in the 60s. Supposed to be that again and maybe even 70s next week. We did get some rain this last week, but it's been nice enough in the mornings when the youngest and I go for our walks. I've actually been wearing less layers than I normally would, so still able to go out for our walks. My husband and I have been watching all of the snow that happened in Halifax and Cape Breton in Canada. Oh my goodness, you guys, you should see some of the pictures. It's absolutely crazy. People's houses buried almost to the roof line. They got a crazy amount of snow. Hopefully it won't be that bad when we live there. I mean, we're not going to be in Halifax, but I could do without that much snow in Canada. I don't mind snow, but that seems a little excessive. The weather has been decent enough here, so a bit of a health drama for me. So sometime last week, my youngest and I were out walking, and I started having problems with my vision. We were out walking. I don't know, it's hard to describe what's going on in your eyeball to people who aren't looking through your eyeball, if you've ever had to do that. Trying to explain to the eye doctor and the eye tech what all was going on. I was worried about it. Basically, I have a new floater that has developed in my eye. Apparently it's something that happens often as you get older, so I can look forward to it more often probably. And the eye doctor told me it often happens in both eyes around the same time. So now that I have this new one that has developed, then I'll probably develop one shortly in my other eye. I was like, great. Just something else to look forward to. This one though is quite large. And she did a bunch of the tests and everything. Nothing is wrong, no tear in my retina. Everything's good. It basically is just a piece of the gunk in your eyeball that floats around in your eyeball, in the vitreous part of your eyeball, as they call it. Becomes kind of this obstruction in my vision. And she's like, there's nothing to be done about it. Eventually my brain will learn to overlook it. But this one is pretty large comparatively. And so it actually obstructs part of my field of vision. If I blink, it moves. It's not terrible. It's just super annoying because I'm constantly, it's kind of in my peripheral vision. So I'm constantly thinking that I see something and I go to look and then nothing is there because it's this stupid shadow from the floater. I mean, eventually I guess it'll be fine. She says your brain learns to compensate and eventually it'll just ignore it. And I've had them before, but I've never had this much trouble with one before, so. But it was nothing serious, so that was good to know. Also along health lines, I think we're mostly done with the bills for my oldest surgery. This week, I paid the surgeon. There was a surgeon and an assistant surgeon, and then there was also a visit, the surgeon for like her post-op, all of that. was processed through the insurance, so I paid that. So she's completely paid off now. I paid off, we had to pay not an anesthesia, a radiology bill from the doctor that read her CAT scan while she was in the emergency room, so that's done. We have gotten a claim from the insurance that shows that we will be getting a bill for the emergency room doctor. However, instead of coming from a separate place, it looks like that is also going to be billed by the hospital itself, which again doesn't make any sense to me. Who goes to the emergency room and doesn't get seen by a doctor? You'd think that would all be included. And the doctor works for the hospital. So anyway, and the bill for the hospital itself for the day that she had her surgery, we have not received yet. We've gotten all the insurance statements, so we know what is owed, but we haven't actually gotten the bills yet. And I know the hospital only sends out bills once a month, and we had already gotten a bill for her emergency room visit, so I'm expecting sometime later this month or next month we'll get the last bill for the surgery itself and the emergency room doctor, and then, knock on wood, we should be done with all of the bills from her surgery. So looking forward to that. In other news, hubby and I were out house surfing and looking at various things in Canada and stuff, and we know that certain things are going to cost more in Canada. Like gas for sure costs more in Canada, but I think it's going to be offset by other things that don't cost as much. Home prices seem lower compared to what we have. Insurance seems lower compared to what we're paying, and property taxes seem like about half from what we've seen. So that may be enough to make up for some of the other things that are going to cost more. But we were talking about grocery prices and stuff. And so I said, let's just go look at one of the local grocery stores and see what their prices are on some items that, staples that we know we're going to buy, that kind of thing. And we happen to be looking at ground beef, hamburger. And here, it is so crazy to me. Our big chain grocery store that is in the town that is about 15 minutes away from us, the grocery store there, I usually buy lean ground beef. So we get like the ground sirloin or the 85-15 blend, whatever. They have different names, different places. So that's typically what I get. I haven't bought any lately because our local grocery store chain is charging $6.50 per pound, which I think is absolutely insane. Now, interestingly, we can go to our local mom and pop grocery store that's in the town that we live in, which almost always, their prices are almost always, if not somewhat higher, more like 50% or sometimes even double. And I get that it's a small grocery store, so they pay more because they're not buying in as much bulk. I get all that. But our local grocery store, we can get the same hamburger for like $4 or $5 a pound. So less than we're paying at the big grocery stores, which doesn't make any sense to me. But then when we were looking online and looking at some of the grocery stores where we would be living, it's only $4 something a pound for the same kind of ground beef, and that's in Canadian prices. So it's already like $1 and something cheaper in Canadian prices, which means it would be even cheaper than that because the dollar is worth more than the Canadian dollar. The US dollar is worth more. So it seems crazy to me. And my mother-in-law is always complaining about the grocery prices and how much things cost. And I'm like, you guys really aren't paying that much more than we are. And in some cases, paying quite a bit less, depending on where you shop. And I mean, I know I get that different grocery stores have different prices and things, but that just seems crazy. So it'll be interesting once we actually move to kind of see what the actual differences are. I mean, that's something we've been looking at too is, when we're looking at home prices online for properties that we might like to get in Canada, all the prices are in Canadian dollars. Obviously, it's a Canadian website. So we often forget that we need to convert that into US dollars. And some of these places we've seen, it's like, oh, that's too much. And then we look at it, oh, that's way less than we thought. And in looking at some of these, because it lists their property taxes and everything, literally most of the places that we've looked at, their property taxes are half of what we're paying here for a similar size house. Now, I know that our county where we live has some of the highest property taxes in our state, but even at that, paying half is very appealing. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. He did find one thing when we were grocery surfing that was actually more expensive, and that weirdly was chicken wings. I don't know why that one particular thing would be more expensive, but we did also take some time this weekend to take some things to the thrift shop and make some donations here. I've been going through your stuff in our basement and everything. My goal is to start in the basement and kind of clear stuff out in the basement. We've already done that with my daughter's room, repainted and everything. So we've been moving things as we pack them up into my daughter's room and just kind of storing them in there. So we moved some more stuff down there. My husband sold some more stuff on Facebook Marketplace as we get things cleaned off, small pieces of furniture and things that we are not going to be taking with us to Canada. Like this week, he sold like a little console table that we are not using anymore. And we also sold our record collection. For a long time when we first got married, I had a vinyl collection. It was my vinyl collection, but not only records that I had collected, but records that at some point had belonged to my mom. And a bunch of them were not even opened. I had everything from Peter, Paul, and Mary. Oh, what's the name of the group that sang Cherokee Nation? I don't even think that's the name of it. But anyway, Peter, Paul, and Mary, Tom Jones, of course, Elvis, Cher, Neil Diamond, and then my 80s growing up, Duran Duran, Madonna, and lots of movie soundtracks because Mom and I were both movie buffs. Just a ton of stuff. Barbra Streisand. Yeah, just a ton of stuff. Anyway, we just sold them all as a big lot. Somebody came. He's a big record collector, wants to open a record shop someday, so got rid of those. Now my husband's going to be working on getting rid of my 45 collection. We sold all the albums. Now we've got the 45s. Basically what's left in the basement is books and bookcases at this point. We're trying to go through and figure out what things we're going to take with us. We know we're going to take some TVs. I'm going to take maybe a box of books, maybe, but I'm going to go through most of them. We're also trying to go through, I have all of my kids' old college textbooks. So we're going to go through and see if any of them are worth trying to sell on like Amazon or stuff. Textbooks are always hit and miss because professors like to update to new versions every year. So what textbook they use in one year may not be the textbook that they use the next year. It may be the next edition or whatever. Sometimes kids can get by with buying the previous edition, but a lot of times the page numbers aren't the same and stuff like that. And these days, the college would rather sell you an online book because then they can sell it over and over and over and always charge you like it's brand new, which is also ridiculous because now they're not having to ship it, store it other than digitally. They don't really have to hire anyone to manage it, stock it, all that kind of stuff. Anyway, don't get me started. It's a whole thing. So we're going to try and sell some of those maybe on Amazon or eBay, something like that. Whatever we can't sell or we don't think is worth the hassle, then we'll just either donate or we'll drop it off at like a secondhand store, a secondhand bookstore. I'm actually going to call our local library and see if they want some of my books. I have a lot of books from when I was teaching. I used to keep a classroom library. I have everything from The Wizard of Oz to The Great Gatsby to Homer's Odyssey, just a ton of different books, some contemporary things as well that I kept in my classroom that my students could check out and read from me rather than checking it out from the library. And when I stopped teaching, I brought a lot of them home, so they're still in my house. Plus, I have my own personal reading collection. I read a lot of science fiction and fantasy. Eons ago, I used to belong to the science fiction book club, and we would get books every month. So I have a lot of hardback books that I'm hoping maybe the library might be interested in, and they're all in good shape. I I don't think I'm going to move all of them. Some of them I will keep. I've got a couple of favorite authors that I probably will hang on to, but I don't think that I'm going to keep all of them. So I need to go through those and get rid of them. I've got a whole series of Nancy Drew books. I'm going to see if my sister-in-law wants those because she collects them. So I'm going to see if she wants those. But if not, then I'll get rid of those. Just trying to get rid of as much as we can so that we can... I want to repaint the basement. We've got, we've lived here for over 10 years. There are some things we need to repair, repaint, just make things look a little bit fresher for when we get ready to sell the house, because I want it to be a fairly quick sale. We're still trying to figure out the logistics of all of that too. It's always easier to sell a house when no one is living in it, because then there's not a lot of furniture and people can see themselves in it, that kind of thing. But when we sold our houses previously, we've always had another house already to move into. So it was easier to do it. I don't know how we're going to do that this time. Short of, I guess we could live in like a long-term hotel, but on the off chance that it wouldn't sell, I don't know what we're going to do. I've told my husband, I think maybe the smartest thing to do would be to send him up ahead, let him go up there, start working up there, get a house up there. We'll be stuck paying 2 mortgages till this one sells, but it would be okay, I think. Then once this house sells, we can, my son and I can head up there and do that. I don't know if that's feasible or not. We've talked about maybe staying in like a long-term hotel. Not going to be anywhere, hopefully long enough that we would want to do a lease to rent. Plus, I don't want to move twice. So I'm not really sure what we're going to do. He keeps saying that we're going to win the lottery so we can just pay off this house, and then my oldest can move in here and basically watch it for us. And then when we want to come visit, we've got a place to stay. I would love to be able to do that. I don't think it's going to happen, but it would be awesome if we could. Plus, I'm not sure of all the logistics of that. Like if we live the year here and half the year in Canada, I don't know what that means, like tax-wise, income-wise, all that kind of stuff. I don't know if it matters even, but speaking of taxes, I also need to get busy and get our taxes filed. I need to help my daughter file hers and then get ours filed. I was waiting on my husband's W-2. We finally got it. And bummer, I didn't remember that he'd worked anywhere else this year, but apparently he worked in both Missouri and Oklahoma, which is not a big deal for federal. It all gets filed to the same place for federal, obviously, but that means we now have to file returns, not only in our own state, but we also have to file a return in Oklahoma and one in Missouri, which stinks. I keep forgetting that it's Super Bowl weekend. We were out shopping yesterday doing our regular grocery runs, and my husband was like, why are so many people out? And I said, I think it's because everybody's out getting their snacks today so they can go home and watch the game tomorrow and not have to worry about it. Then we went to near where our Target is that we go to. They have opened up a standalone Auntie Anne's pretzel place. The ones that you almost always only see in the mall. It's a Jamba Juice / Auntie Anne's, but they were just absolutely slammed. Their line for the drive-through was completely around the building. So my husband's like, well, I'm just going to park and I'll go inside. He goes inside and he texts me from inside, it's just as nuts in here. I'm like, oh, sorry. So we got some of our pretzels. It was so busy, they ran out of cream cheese frosting, which is nuts to me. How do you run out of cream cheese frosting? But I guess they were just that busy. And then he wanted to stop at another store. He was looking for a particular kind of potato chip. He loves ketchup chips, which you can't usually get here in the States. There for a while, I think Lay's, can't remember if it's Lay's or Ruffles. Somebody had All Dressed and somebody had like a version of ketchup chips. And he's also found a couple of off brands of like All Dressed and ketchup chips. But the only place he's been able to find this off brand was at Menards, which is like a Lowe's. So he wanted to stop there and see. They didn't have his All Dressed or his ketchup chips, so he was disappointed. But his new thing is, again, I can't remember if it's Lay's or Ruffles, one of the chip companies. They're probably all the same one eventually, but They have Funyun flavored chips, and that's his current favorite. So he bought some of those when he couldn't find his all dressed chips, which is really what he wanted, but can't always get what you want, according to Mick Jagger. So yeah, we were just talking about how crazy it is with everybody out, presumably for getting ready for the Super Bowl. I don't know if that's really why, but that's what we figured. I'm not bothered one way or the other about the game. My husband is a Kansas City fan, so he'd like to see Kansas City win. I don't really care. I'd be happy with either team winning. I think they both have pluses and minuses, so I'm just here for the snacks. That's what I told my husband. I'm just here for the snacks. He's going to make his chicken dip tomorrow, and because it's been warm here, I actually bought ice cream for some of our snacks, which I haven't done in a while because when it's cold, I don't really like to eat ice cream because ice cream is cold. But it's been warm enough that I ordered some ice cream snacks for us as well. So we have chips and ice cream, and he's going to make his chicken dip. I think that will be enough, and we'll be all set. I think that's everything for my life update. So let's talk about my diamond painting life. My diamond painting life has been kind of boring as well. Just trying to work on, well, I've been trying to work on kits, obviously, and get things done. I have overloaded myself, I think, which I knew that was probably going to happen, but I keep trying to convince myself that I'm the type of person who can work on multiple WIPs, and I'm not. I'm just not. So I've got things open. Some are actual WIPs where I have drills laid. Let's see, how many WIPs do I have currently? I have from last year my 02 from the old Mary's Diamonds that I haven't completed. I have a Christmas one from Oraloa that has drills on it that I haven't completed. And then so far this year I have opened my Josephine Wall from Diamond Painting Deutschland. That actually has some drills on it, although not enough. I have my Bubble Fairies is open, and this one, those both have drills laid on them. And then I have another one that is open but doesn't have any drills on it yet, and that is, well, I have two of those. That is my Daphne kit that I just bought and my Wishes kit, which will be my second kit for my Want to Do series. What is my plan for all of those, you may ask, because I'm clearly insane. The first two I mentioned, the Mary's Diamonds and the Christmas one, I don't know when I'm going to get to them. One of the things in Diamond Painting Bingo, the event that I'm doing, is to finish a kit from 2023. So maybe someday I'll get to one of those and finish it. I don't know. I have so many things going on this year. Eventually they'll get finished, but I don't know when. But I do want to finish the other ones. This one is actually going a lot faster than I had anticipated. I don't know if that is because it is a round. I don't know if I've been putting in more time lately. It doesn't feel like it, but it just seems to be going faster. And so I'm hopeful that I'll be able to finish this one pretty quickly. Like I said, I'm already over halfway done with this one. I think I'm just going to concentrate on this one rather than trying to split my time. Get this one done. That will let me complete the two events, the for Familiars in February and the DP for Black History Month 2024. So I can mark those two events off. And then before I jump into anything else, I want to try and finish the Bubble Fairies one. That one drags on into March. That might be okay. I'm going to be doing a dragon event next month. Trying to anyway. And I think as long as the canvas isn't 50% or more finished, then I can use it. So it's okay if it's not a new start. I got to go back and double check that, but I think that's what it's going to be. If I end up over 50%, I've got another Spangler that I'm going to be doing anyway, so I'll just open that one and use that one. Tons of things going on and all that kind of stuff. But I really want to push myself. Now, I've got other projects going on in the background, so maybe these are pie in the sky dreams that I'll get all this done. I'm going to push myself and see how far I can get. This one, the bottom of it with all the cobblestones went really quickly. It was a lot of multi-placing. Her plaid skirt and her fishnet stockings, oh my goodness, were fun, but also very, very confetti heavy. And her little bits of wavy hair that I have encountered so far have also been very confetti heavy. I think maybe that's why it seems like it's going faster than it would normally, because even as confetti heavy as it is, I feel like I'm making decent progress. Again, this all could just be because it's around, who knows, but I'll take it. And I'm really enjoying this one. I actually did see that Craftably posted that hopefully here in the next little while, they will be getting their kits, their new kits for all their new releases. So they'll be able to put those up for sale, because I would love to buy some more Craftablys for my stash. I am, after this one, I think I only have, how many do I have left after this one? I've got I have 2 that are in the tubes, and then I think I have 2 that are in boxes. So I think I only have 4 left. And like I've mentioned many times, I want to buy the gnome one, but I've been waiting for them to put out all their other new releases so I could just buy everything at once. We'll see if that ends up happening during February. I have tried to be good, and I haven't bought anything else yet this month. We're not very far into February, but I haven't bought anything yet. I've been trying to be good. After yesterday's video, when I filmed yesterday's video, which thank you so much to everybody who watched and all the comments. I'm glad that you all enjoyed it. That was a video that I wasn't sure how it would be received, so I'm happy that everyone seemed to enjoy it. However, I will say in the process of filming it, and I mean, I've been gathering things to get ready to film that one for a while, and just have had piles sitting around my office, and finally went, okay, I got to film this because I'm tired of these piles sitting here. Then once I started filming, I realized, oh my gosh, this is going to take so much more time than I actually anticipated. And so I'm having to split it up into parts, which, thank you for your feedback. There will be a part 2 because I didn't cover nearly everything that I wanted to. But also after filming, I realized how much stuff I still have. Now, I spent over the last probably 6 months or so, I spent quite a bit of time going through a lot of my diamond painting accessories and things and figuring out what I had duplicates of, what I didn't use, what I didn't want anymore, and put together, I think, 8 mystery boxes. Ended up selling those full of bottle cases and 3D printed trays and pins and wax and washi tape. I mean, you name it, I probably put it in a mystery box. Just things that I have collected that I don't need or use, or I have duplicates of, so I don't need, I think I had 10 bottle cases. I don't need that many. So just going through and getting rid of a bunch of that stuff, I felt like I'd made a really good dent. And then when I was filming, I was like, I have a lot more stuff left than I thought. I don't think I'm going to be putting any mystery boxes together again, but definitely there are things that I can get rid of. Part of it, I think, too, is that I have not been sending out random acts of kindness. I had been holding off because of the holidays, and then things happened with hubby's job, so I've been holding off because of that as well. And I've just been so busy during January. I sent some out, but not very many at all. So I definitely need to do that. And that will get rid of some of the things that are sitting around, because I generally try to put some things that I don't use, that I have extras of or whatever, in my random acts of kindness. Not sure how that's going to change once we move. Shipping is always such a challenge for everyone. I'm trying to figure out some logistical way of, I've had some people tell me that they maintain an address, a mailing address in the States, so that like they can order Diamond Art Club and everything without having to pay the import fees and whatnot. I don't know exactly how all of that works yet, so we're still trying to figure some of that out. We're still trying to figure out what we're going to take with us and what we're going to leave behind. My husband and I were just talking about that yesterday, and like, we need to get the trailer and start filling it up, because some of this stuff that we want to take, you know, is like keepsake stuff. So we don't, it doesn't need to be, well, I was going to say it doesn't need to be in our house, but I guess I don't really want it sitting out in the weather either. Like our photos and things like that, that I definitely want to take. Some books, all my D&D stuff. Yeah, I probably don't want those sitting out in the extreme cold and extreme temperatures, but we do need to at least start making a dent on doing some of the home repairs and things that you put off doing because you're fine just living with that squeaky door, or the door that's a little bit hard to close, or whatever. And then when you go to sell it, you're like, you should probably fix that. I would like to do it piecemeal and not have this big push at the end when we go to sell. Now, there's a part of me that's like, we have enough equity in our house that we could probably just lower the price a little bit to make up for the difference of, hey, we're not going to fix all these little things. Take it as is and just take it for a little bit less, and we would still come out ahead. But knowing that we're going to be moving up there, and yeah, I would like to get maximum dollars out of our house if we can. We'll see what happens. The house across the street finally went up for sale. So I'm nosy. I went out and looked at the realtor website to see what pictures they had posted and everything. It's kind of a weird house. They're asking for quite a bit of money, and their basement isn't finished. Now, it is a 2-story house, but it's got a weird like pit. Well, it's not like even a pit living room. You step down into it's not the living room. The kitchen and dining room is almost like it wasn't originally part of the house. Like maybe it was a porch and they built onto it, but it is part of the original house. So it's just weird. So you step down into the dining room and kitchen, and they run the length of the house. So it's a pretty big kind of open U-shaped kitchen, and then it opens into the dining room. But then you step up into the living room, which is quite small. It's smaller than my living room, which I think is small. It's got this weird 70s vibe, like wall divider type thing. Now, they had a company go through and do a whole bunch of renovations to it because we knew the neighbors were moving out. And it took probably a good month and a half of people working on the inside and outside of the house before it actually went on the market. But I was surprised at the amount of money that they're asking for it. So maybe we'll be able to get more for our house than we think, but we'll see. We might also, like I said, end up taking less because we just want to unload it. We got to go. We're ready to move. I really would love to just hang on to it so that we had some place, not only for my oldest that was kind of stable, but not that her apartment isn't stable, and that we also had some place so like when we came back for visits, we'd have some place to stay rather than a hotel. Because like right now, if we come back for a visit, we'd have to stay in a hotel. None of my siblings have enough room for all of us. My daughter's 1-bedroom apartment certainly does not have room for all of us. So I guess if we all slept in sleeping bags in the living room, maybe, but I don't see that happening. I'm too old for that. So what else is going on in my diamond painting life? You guys, YouTube is going to be making some changes apparently in 2024. It'll be interesting to see what happens because they are really pushing people to make shorts. However, shorts just don't work for every channel. I tried making some on here. My long form content does way better, but YouTube is also going to be pushing, I guess they've done some studies and more people are watching YouTube on their television, which is actually what my husband and I do. We have like an Apple TV, we have Google Chromecast, he has a Fire Stick that we hook up to our TV and we watch our streaming services and YouTube that way. So we watch a lot of YouTube and Twitch on our actual television rather than on our phones. So I guess there have been some talk about how YouTube is going to do some things a little bit differently because of that, trying to take advantage of that. And then also, I guess they're trying to figure out what their stance and procedures are going to be about AI. So we'll see how that all shakes out. Anyway, they're really pushing people to make shorts, which I don't want to do. I've contemplated making a second channel just for like ASMR type shorts because I think there is a place for those. I just don't think it's on my channel. So trying to do it separately. But also I've had lots of people say that shorts don't make very much money. I don't know if that's why YouTube is pushing people towards that, because then they have to pay out less. But personally, I actually myself don't watch shorts very often. Every once in a while I'll watch one, but I do not routinely. I don't know if I think they're trying to challenge the TikTok market. My kids are both Gen Z or iGen or whatever you want to call them. My daughter is very much into TikTok, but she does not do any other social media. My son has zero. He has zero interest in doing social media. And while I'm appreciative of that, they did both while they were in school. I think my youngest, his group of friends, their preferred method was Snapchat. My oldest, kind of Facebook, kind of Instagram. And then when TikTok hit the scene, definitely TikTok. But like, she only has TikTok. She doesn't do Facebook. She doesn't do Instagram. She doesn't do Twitter. Nothing else. It's just TikTok. And like I said, my youngest doesn't do anything. My husband has Facebook mostly to keep up with his family in Canada because that's where they all are. But he doesn't really have anything other than that. And I only have Instagram and Facebook for this. I don't social media for my own personal stuff. Don't like it. I feel like it's a big time suck. I feel like you end up spending a bunch of time looking at nothing. You spend 30 minutes scrolling through Facebook and then can't remember what you looked at. Anyway, what was my point of this? YouTube. That was my point. You guys, I am almost at 7,000 subscribers. So huge, huge thank you to everybody who subscribes and watches and comments. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it. I'm not getting rich off of YouTube. I'm not making enough to be self-sufficient and have YouTube be my job. But I find it personally very rewarding getting to share my love of diamond painting with everybody. I love how the community can come together and help each other and share knowledge and just kind of support each other in good times and bad. And I'm just having a ton of fun. So a huge thank you to all of you who watch and continue to watch, comment, share, all of that stuff. Like I said, I can remember when I first started this channel and I didn't think I would ever make it to 700 subs. It seemed like it was an uphill battle for every single person. And now I'm almost at 7,000. I mean, I wouldn't even have considered that possible when I very first started. If you told me that one day I would have 7,000 subs, I would have laughed at you. I mean, I wanted to get to the 1,000 for monetization, obviously, but mostly I'm just doing this because it's fun. And if it ever stops being fun, that's probably when I'll stop doing it. So yeah, just a huge thank you to you guys. I'm excited about how well things have gone to this point, and I'm amazed at how much I have learned through this whole process, and not just learned about diamond painting, but I'm constantly learning every day. I learn about social media, I learn about photography, I learn about editing, I learn about software programs, I learn about marketing. I have learned a lot through this whole process, and that has been amazing as well. Looking forward to seeing what's next. Hopefully, here in the next little while, I'll reach 7,000 subs, because that would be amazing. And then I have an idea for what I want to do if that happens. So hopefully that will be not too long in the future. Do I have anything else I want to mention to you guys? I think I've shared pretty much everything that I had on my list to talk about. Like I said, I am still working on ideas for other educational type videos. I actually was super productive yesterday while my husband and I were out running errands. Most of the time, 99.9% of the time when we pick up groceries, we do pick up. We order it online and then we just go drive up, they bring it out to our car, we come home. It saves me money with my husband and his, oh, let's try this, oh, let's try that. But it also gives me time when we're together in the car. You know, we're conversing and doing things, but I take my iPad because I have a keyboard for my iPad and I keep all of my notes, well, not all of them, but a lot of them for diamond painting and videos and things like that. My WIP and chat notes, I keep those on my iPad, and as we're out doing stuff, if I think of something, I will jot it down on a note. And yesterday while we were out, since filming the video with all of the basic versus luxury items and do I really need all of this stuff, like I said, I didn't get through everything. So as I was going through and just kind of continually talking to him, thinking about that process and what I could do in the next video, and then talking about what other videos I wanted to do. So while he's running in and out, getting our pretzels and getting our groceries in the trunk and all that kind of stuff, I'm hurriedly typing in the passenger seat scripts for videos that I want to do. And I actually finished, I think, the scripts for like 3 videos while we were out shopping yesterday. I mean, I just do, it's not like I wrote the entire script. A lot of times I'll do like bullet points or just kind of notes. And then that's kind of my outline for when I sit down to film the video. Also, it gives me a chance to kind of plan it out in my head and figure out what things I might need for the video so that I have everything kind of gathered before I start filming. Not that I still don't have to go chase things down, because I often do, but it helps me be a little bit more organized. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. There were a couple weeks there that I was feeling a little burnt out, and maybe like my creative mojo wasn't where I wanted it to be. And I feel like I was super productive yesterday, so I'm feeling good about all that. Yeah, just feeling good about all of it. I think I'm going to stop there. So you can see I didn't get a ton done today. I got some more of the back of her sleeve here, the little stars. I've reached where her belt and some of her shirt is going to be on her skirt. So some decent multi-placing there, so that will be good. I think once I finish these 2 sections, that will be over halfway finished. Should be able to do that in a little bit more while I'm watching the game. So things are going great. I hope things are going well for you and yours. It's been an interesting end of 23 into 2024. I can't believe we're almost halfway through February already. It's been insane. That's it for me today, guys. Thanks so much for sticking around till the end of the video. Before you leave, don't forget to do all the things. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification icon so that you can be informed of future uploads. And as always, guys, thanks so much for watching.